Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Changemakers Mic'd Up. I'm Kiara,
And I'm Ane.
and today we will be interviewing Kanika and Nabya for their project called Sursathi.
So, can you both introduce yourselves and share a little bit about who you are beyond the project?
Hi, my name is Navya, and I've been playing the violin for 9 years now. Apart from the violin, I also like composing music. I like singing, playing the guitar, and music theory.
Hi, I'm Kanika, and I have learned both Hindustani and Western vocals for the past 8 years and have given exams for them as well.
Okay. So in one sentence, how would you describe Sursathi?
Sursathi is basically a student-led initiative that aims to make music education more accessible to those from underserved communities in Mumbai.
And how did you come up with Sursathi? What was the initial idea behind it?
So, as a part of my services action in grade 9, I was already teaching people, primary students in the school, to play the violin, and Mr. Kumar suggested that we scale this up. So, I collaborated with Kanika and we started with a batch of like maybe 20, 25 kids, and that's kind of how Sursathi began.
Right. So, how did you scale it from an idea to an action? Like, what were the first steps you took?
So, the first things we had to do was understand how to address the children that we were talking to, so we understand how much they are able to learn and adapt to, because it was a completely new topic and subject for them, because they usually just focus on subjects like math in their school. So this was something different for them. So we had to continuously change between different learning methods and teaching methods to know what works for each child, which is what helped us then build further with those ideas and target a larger
Right. A larger group of people.
Yeah.
So what is like the core mission of Sursathi? Like what is like the main message or idea that you want the kids to
Basically, want to promote creative learning in the form of music education so that they can develop like transferable skills like confidence, creativity, creative thinking. These are all skills that are applicable in different subjects. And the idea is to be able to like build and like hone these skills so that they can transfer them to their respective, interests and passions.
Right. So, from what I've heard, you all did this in sessions, right? So, how does a typical Sursaki session really look like?
So we always want to begin our sessions with some basic warm-ups that gets like everyone, active and actually in the exactly. So we start out with some basic warm-ups like that, and then we try to move on to some theory-based learning, so understanding notes and sight reading and things like that. And then we move on to a song which we decide based on what the children want to do, so they actually enjoy that. And maybe if there's an upcoming performance, then we also practice for that.
We also recently started incorporating instrumental lessons. Now that we got a lot of donations for like pianos and guitars and drums, so we began like teaching them about instruments and the very basics,
right? And so musical instruments are like usually expensive. So how do you afford? Like, what are some challenges that you face for this project?
So one challenge we do face is that when we're getting these donations, a lot of the instruments are not in the best shape. So it does take us some, materials and resources to get those fixed and, back to working as they should, so that the children can then use them.
Okay.
So, are there like, how do you think music impacts underprivileged children like differently than other, how do I say it? Subject.
Yeah. Because you said you want to like promote creative thinking. So, but you could always do that with other subjects such as like art or like math or like critical thinking and stuff. But why music?
Well, the idea is that music can firstly build confidence because it's a performing arts, right? So it gives you the opportunity to be able to like go around and present your skills in a way that's more physical, in the sense that people can see you doing it, and they can hear you. And it's something that directly appeals to their emotions. When you perform a piece, you can see people clapping along. That directly, it shows that they're engaged with you. And that sense of being able to see that they're connected, it motivates you to keep going. And that's just something that music brings to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, like, have you seen like anything new in the children because of like an introduction, like them being introduced to music? Like, have you seen a boost in confidence, better creative thinking, anything like that?
And you also have done performances, right? So do you see any change in the kids' like personality and confidence from when you first started your sessions to like the day of the performance?
Yeah. So definitely when they started, they were very like shy, and they were kind of skeptical about the whole thing because they were like, should we be doing this? Is this really important? Is this really going to help us? And we just tried to help them through like this entire feeling, and just try to get them to be more comfortable expressing themselves. And now like in our lessons, we try to get them to make small patterns, rigid patterns, make like lead the warm up for the rest of the class. And it just shows that they're ready to like participate now and engage with everything that we're trying to get them to do.
And how receptive like were the students to your teaching methods and the content that you were trying to teach?
So at first, I feel because, like Navya said, it was something completely new for them. So at first, they were not very engaged and responsive, I would say. But like I said earlier, we did try multiple new methods with them, with how we plan our sessions, what kind of songs we do with them, and how we address them as a whole. So I think those were some things that definitely helped us build their confidence, engagement, and interest in the field.
Yeah, so what age groups do you work with? And like, since every child has different needs, how do you adapt your session for like different abilities?
So we work with students in grade 6 to 8 mainly. Yeah. So basically, to make it more appropriate to their age, we try to put in a lot of games and a lot of like exercises that are more interactive, so that it's not only us teaching them, but them also like learning from each other. Like we'll ask them to maybe like lead a few exercises for the class, or we'll ask them to sing in groups. We play small games like one lyric of a song is sung by half of the class, and the other half has to sing the second half, and it keeps going back and forth. So we try to make it really interactive. We try to make them do like fun vocal warm-ups. Like, I don't know if there's this thing called like the roller coaster warm-ups. It's basically where you're just like moving, playing around with your voice, just like warming it up. So yeah, they like to do all of those things, and yeah, that's kind of how we
Sounds pretty fun.
yeah.
Okay. So how long has this project been going on for?
So I feel it's been about a year to this project, and we have definitely like seen a huge improvement in the way we work and the children that we are working with. And we've also been able to scale it up like a whole lot. So
What are your future plans for Sarsati? Like expansions, or maybe are you going to try to teach them new art forms?
And do you see this as like a legacy project or just something that you're doing until you graduate?
So yeah, firstly, to scale Sarsati, our plan is to be able to like reach out to more volunteers, more people who are passionate about music and who also have the experience to be able to like conduct sessions and to share their skills. And we want to reach out to like more students and more schools or NGOs. That's kind of how we want to approach it. And this is definitely going to be a legacy project because a lot of our volunteers are people from lower grades, and that was taken, of course, by purpose so that this project can go on.
And they can continue
Yeah.
the same, right? And so you've been doing it for a while now. So is there any moment where you realize that Sarsati was genuinely making an impact with the kids?
So a while back last year, we had like a few months back, we had the Republic Day performance with them. So when they did do that performance, at first in the classrooms when we were just practicing with them, we were not completely sure of how the performance would go, how well they'd be able to project themselves and and present in front of the entire school. But when the day of the performance did come, we saw that they were very confident and were able to, present themselves in such a way that the entire school was really liking the performance, and which is why we also got a lot more grades that were interested to, continue with this project as well.
They were just really excited about it. Yeah.
Oh, what's like one story from your teaching sessions that you think everyone listening should hear?
I think it's to always be patient with them. There are people from very different like mindsets and backgrounds, and sometimes they're not very motivated to be able to like stick with their lesson plans. But instead of like getting discouraged about the whole situation, I think it's important to just give them their time to be able to like understand what we're trying to do, how we're trying to help them, to be able to see that and like move past it and collaborate with us. That's just something that I've seen with all of the batches that we work with. Initially, it's going to be hard, but you need to be able to like push past and to be able to like get them to be equally involved with the project.
Yeah.
And like Navya said, that there are some times where they are not able to work completely to the lesson plan we had in mind. So it's not just them who has to adapt to our lesson plans, but us also to their, how
Behavior.
yes, and how each day might not be the same. So they may not feel the same that they were feeling last class. So we have to be able to adapt to that and, make a quick change in our lesson plan by making, like Navya said earlier, activities that may make them feel more engaged and interacted in the session. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think the kids have like understood what you're trying to achieve with them and like have come to like an equal mindset of like, oh, like this is like music theory and it's going to be fun? Or like in the initial moments, it was of course like, oh, like I don't know what's happening and all of that. But now they're like actually enjoying. Or are there like still some people who are like, oh, I don't want to do this?
I definitely think that the general mindset has changed a lot. I've had like some of the students come up and they're like, in the future I want to be a singer, and that like thing.
Wow.
So that was really nice. It was good to know that we're making an impact. And I do think though that every child has a different interest. So I can't say that like all of the 300 kids that we've like worked with wants to become a singer or has like does want to go forward in music. But I can say that all of them have like started to enjoy all of our sessions, and they've started to like see it as their time to just like relax a bit on every Saturday.
So, like Navya said, I just want to add on, she mentioned that not every child would want to become a singer. But at multiple instances, we have asked the children, like altogether, that, with the help of this practice, you might be able to perform on a huge stage one day. And, as a whole, as a group, as a school, we want to present you somewhere where you can, show your talent and learn more from those experiences as well. And whenever we have asked them this question, they have all very enthusiastically replied to us saying that we really are looking forward to these performances that we do on the larger scale.
Right. So they're really enthusiastic about the things.
If you have anything to share with other students who want to start their own social impact initiative but don't know where to begin, but what would you tell them?
I would tell them to firstly be very structured about the whole process. If you're carrying out a project, you need to be able to know how to cater to your audience's needs, to be able to make them trust you in the fact that you know what you're doing. Like with Sursati, we had like lesson plans for them to see, like for our supervisors to see as well, so that they know that we're capable of carrying this out.
And to just add to what Navya said, along with that, it is also your passion that should drive your project. So, like there might be instances in your project, like process and your journey where, there might be downfalls and challenges, which we do have faced. But you need to learn to overcome those challenges, because if you are passionate about that, you will definitely find a solution to move forward and take your project ahead.
Right. What are some accolades that Sursati has achieved so far? So
So one thing was that 20 of our students received a scholarship to the Ajivasan Academy. So yeah, that was
Wow, that's insane. You guys must be really proud as like their mentors. So as you've come so far in this journey, what has Sursati changed in you as individuals?
I think it's made me a lot more patient, especially because I've had to like deal with children of so many different mindsets and try to get them to see what I'm trying to help them like achieve. So doing that, it required me to look at a lot of different exercises, a lot of different forms to just like get them to learn the same thing.
And get you guys on the same page.
Exactly. To be able to like look at how a class is overall, who are the kids who can maybe like handle good intonation, for instance, who are the kids who need a little bit more support, and how can the class dynamic help them achieve like a good performance together. So it's made me it's made me more patient, and like it's motivated me to like be able to find new ways to teach the students and to keep them engaged. Yeah.
So for me, I feel it's made me a lot more confident because in this whole journey, I was like leading sessions myself. So initially there were constant questions in my head, like, what if I do something wrong? But then I realized that it is not just a learning journey for them, but for us as well, because it's something new we're doing. And like, while we're teaching them, we might make some mistakes, but it is those mistakes that I learned from it to, make my sessions better and adapt to different teaching methods, etc.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for doing this interview. Tune in for our next episode. Thank you.